Miami Dolphin fan, let me ask you something. You love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 2 of Draft Talk on the Clock on the Finstock Sports Network. I'm Bobby Finstock, joined by Coach Michael Vogel and Josh Wingate, host of Beer and Sports. What's up, gentlemen? How we doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Yeah, heck yeah. Season
We're
2.
doing
Let's
good.
go.
Season
I normally
2.
do Beer and Sports, so I am going to enjoy one. This is the normal hour of the Beer and Sports podcast, so I'm going
There
to
you go.
enjoy one.
There you go.
Yeah, Beer
Enjoy
and
it.
Sports for until after the draft, I believe, is on pause. Is that right, Wingate?
That is true.
There you go. So you'll be with us. That's awesome. Talking NFL draft. Of course, we're here talking draft because of only one reason. Both of our teams, for Wingate, it's the Cowboys. Us, it's the Dolphins. We're not going to the Super Bowl. We're out of the playoffs. One and dones, but it is what it is. So we're going to try to do our best now to talk about not only the Dolphins and, of course, the Cowboys, but the NFL in general, but just how we can fix these teams, get them on the next pedestal, and talk about the future of the NFL in these prospects. Again, watching on the clock on the Finstock Sports Network, hit that like and subscribe button. And before we roll, Vogel, my brother, it's been a while.
It has.
How are you? Yeah, man. How are you been doing?
I'm good, man. I'm kind of getting in full swing into the draft prep work. Interested to see the Shrine game this weekend. And then I think the Senior Bowl's practices and stuff start up this week. Yep. So that's where we want to be someday. We're going to get there eventually.
That's right.
But, yeah, man. I'm excited.
So obviously, I mean, Wingate, and you've been doing Beer and Sports, so we've been keeping track with you. But how have you been? And I wanted to touch on very quick just how you've been doing, but also Cowboys. They keep Mike McCarthy. How are you as a Cowboys fan?
No, I'm good. I feel like one of my least favorite fan bases is the Cowboy fan base because we're just so hot and cold, and it just frustrates me beyond belief.
That sounds familiar.
And it's an NFL issue too. We live off of one game, and whatever you did that last game is who you are in the NFL, and it stinks because if you talk to a Cowboys fan post bye week of the Dallas Cowboys, they love Mike McCarthy because he turned the ship around. He got the offense back on track. He got everything going off of one game, which you can tell it was a player issue, not a coach issue. We need to get rid of Mike McCarthy because he's not doing the job right. I get it. You're frustrated.
Yeah. Sounds very familiar.
Yeah. And then also our quarterback isn't good because of one game and playoff game and all of that issue. Even though he is going to be going to the award ceremony for a potential MVP, he's not the quarterback for the future, and you need to get rid of him because nothing will ever happen. But I'm doing well. Everything's good over here.
Vogel, man, I know you've been following. We all have just draft prospects and whatnot. Overall broader look. Of course, we'll get deeper into it throughout this off season here. But what position, in general, for the draft are you most excited about that gets you fired up? That you're like, damn. And I know you're a trench guy. Yeah. I know offensive line, D-line. But when you look overall at the draft, you're like, dude, this position is sexy, man. The guys coming out of this draft, this part of the draft, this is the bread and butter.
I mean, I think I've seen a lot of O-line guys that I'm really, really into, but it feels like the quarterback class is deep. And I mean, you could see a bunch of guys going in the first round by, teams over pursuing or whatever. But it feels like it's, a deeper quarterback class than maybe last year, the year before. Always some good skill positions out there. Some D line. I like D line a lot too. So
yeah,
we shall see. We shall see.
What about you, Wingate, man? Any position out there catches your eye?
I mean, we say this every year nowadays, but the wide receiver group is just unreal. Like, it is ridiculous.
This class is deep, dude. That was my answer.
Take away Marvin Harrison Jr., and in my opinion, you have Malik Neighbors, who could be a number one receiver in a lot of classes as we speak. But this class is unreal. Like, top to bottom, you're just falling in love with players.
If you need a wide receiver, you're going
to. Yeah. And it feels like we're saying this every year.
Every year, it just gets better every year. But this class right here, receiver, is just so damn deep that if you're a team like, again, Miami, you go receiver, you got Jalen Waddle, you got Tyreek Hill. You could get a guy in the second round, the fifth round, and still hit on someone.
We don't know how long Tyreek is going to be around. He's already talked about retirement.
Let me tell you, this window is closing, dude. Yeah. The Dolphins window is closing, and it's what it is. It sucks, but it is what it is. So, and that's the thing. When Jalen was hurt and out, or Tyreek was injured and we were like, dude, where's that third guy? Is it a tight end? Do we need I think the Dolphins, that's why I'm like, don't sleep on any position in the NFL draft if you're a Dolphins fan, unless, again, maybe the most minimum is probably quarterback. But every other position is on the table, in my opinion. So let us roll this out. Let's first talk about, and I'll start with you, Wingate. A lot of change, a lot of turnover to end the season for head coaches, but a lot of good hires as well. We know Jim Harbaugh is now the coach of the Chargers. Raheem Morris got a job. Which team with a new head coach can you expect to have the most change? What will have the biggest impact? And then following that, what was the best hire in your opinion? And then the worst?
Ooh, so I'm going to go with a team that doesn't have a head coach at the moment. And that's going to be Washington. I think Washington is going to have the most changeover because, one, they have the number one pick. They have a new GM. They're going to have a new head coach. They have a whole new regime. So that entire team is about to just blow up and just turn into what this owner, GM, coach wanted to be. And that's going to start with potentially a quarterback at number one. We're either looking at quarterback or left tackle, Joe Ott, or potentially, I can't think of his name, but the North Carolina quarterback. They have the North Carolina quarterback. Yeah. Drake May. And have the North Carolina backup him as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. But I think Washington's going to have the best situation or most turnover when it comes to that roster, and I think they need it.
It does feel like they need an overhaul, yeah.
Yeah. That team has needed an overhaul every decade.
For a long time. And they need a team name overhaul, too.
Yeah. And I think that's coming, too. They're getting a new stadium here in the future.
Yeah.
So it should be fun to watch the process because I don't think we're getting any new franchises in the NFL. So it'll be fun to watch that process of, hey, this is a new franchise in the NFL.
Yeah.
The best hire, I think, was the Raiders. Just keeping Antonio Pierce was just the smart move, the right move. You saw the locker room get behind him, and just keeping that is the perfect move. Probably the worst hire, in my opinion. I want to say it's going to be Raheem Morris, and not because I don't respect him, just because of what I've seen him do previously at a head coaching stint. And I don't know if he was the right person for the job in Atlanta. You need an offensive guy that's going to figure out a quarterback, that's going to figure out how to use the weapons you have on the offensive side. And they didn't get that. So I'm curious of what that hire is going to do for their situation. And I just don't think it was the right position or right guy for the right team.
Michael, same question, man. What do you think? Which hire do you think will get the most change? What was the best hire, and what do you think could possibly be the worst?
I feel like it's hard to go against Harbaugh and the Chargers, especially with the talent that they have on the team. Quarterback and skill position, their defense, like it's just hard not to see them, being competitive next year and trying to win a playoff spot. But I agree with Josh that I do feel like the best hire was the Raiders with Antonio Pierce, especially the players were pushing for it, and it just feels like, it feels like he's got things going in the right direction. And wasn't it a couple of years ago that they kind of did the same thing? Their interim came in and did a much better job than was it Gruden that was there, and they let both of them go. So I feel like that's the best. And the worst, I kind of was thinking about the Falcons, but I went with the Titans. And Callahan, I just don't know how you go from Vrabel, who in my opinion was a really, really good coach, that could have revamped that offense this year, and bring in somebody, that I didn't feel like was the best qualified for a job. When there are other, like we said, who are all the coaches out there with a lot of experience, Belichick and Carroll and all those guys that could have come in and maybe put that competitive edge on right away. So that's why I'd said the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans for me was the biggest head scratcher. That's when I kind of went, what? And I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful to Callahan. I will say Harbaugh. I think that was probably the best because that where the Chargers are, I think he's going to bring him that next step up. Yeah. I mean, it was a smart move by him. Looking at the landscape and going, okay, if there's any team on the doorstep, it's the Chargers. They got the quarterback. They got the weapons. He's going to put them. They'll be competing in a playoff or for a playoff spot next season for sure. Washington was such a great point. I mean, I can't argue with that at all. I think Washington, just because of the number 2 overall pick, they're going to get the second best quarterback, maybe not the second best because that's not fair because we got to wait. But, if Caleb Williams is number 1, Drake May is number 2, so they're going to get to reset their franchise wherever it goes from there. But talking about we're going to move. Just talking about Washington, we'll move to Chicago here, who has the first overall pick. Michael, there's a lot of noise in Chicago about what they're going to do with that number 1 pick. Obviously DJ Moore, some of the fan base, they're pushing for Justin Fields to stay there. So what do you think Chicago's going to do? What would be the best move for them at number 1, and what do they end up doing with Justin Fields?
Yeah, I think they ultimately are going to end up trading Fields and taking Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams is the quarterback that everybody says he is, and you keep you have the number 1 overall pick and you stay with Justin Fields, I think that's grounds for a bunch of people getting fired down the road. But I have also heard, I've got people that are still family that are Bears fans, and they like Justin Fields, but I'm not sure that I personally have seen enough to warrant him being, especially if it's the number 1 pick. Now, if they were picking like 12th or 14th or something like that, I think you got to keep him and go with Marvin Harrison at 1. But if it's the number 1 overall, I don't know that people have seen enough out of Justin Fields to warrant. And I don't have anything against Justin Fields because people want him in Miami instead of Tua. So,
I get it too. I mean, it's hard to pass up on this crop of quarterbacks, especially when Fields kind of showed some promise this year. But you're like, all right, I'm sitting here at number 1. I got the 9th overall pick as well. I could, of course, they could ransom that pick and get a buttload of picks and, again, try to stay within that top 10, try to grab a Marvin Harrison, whomever, and then go number 9 and take whatever quarterback is left and have him kind of pull off an RG3 Kirk Cousins situation. Or you could get your quarterback at 1, move Field, see if one of these top 10 teams want him, and then number 9, get somebody else. Wingate, same question, brother. What do you think they're going to do up in Chicago?
If I am that front office, I'm having a deep conversation and I'll say this, just the same I'm having in Miami is who is my quarterback of the future? Because obviously, if Justin Fields is it, I just listened to a podcast. Someone I respect in the draft world is Dane Brugler. He has scouted much more people than I have. and he has 25 first round draft picks or first round picks this year that have first round grades. Normally you have around 12, so you almost have double this year. So if I can move back in the first round and gather more picks in that first round, I'm trying to do that as much as possible. If I can say Justin Fields is the true person that I can lead and go forward with, give me all the picks possible, because I can really turn around this franchise with.
You end up in that Houston situation from last year where they were able to get offensive stuff, the quarterback, and then defense. Yeah, they did.
They crushed it. But just preliminarily, like just looking at who has multiple first round picks, I can't even see one of them. But isn't there a team with multiple first round picks?
Yeah. Well, obviously, Chicago.
Is it just Chicago with multiple?
No,
Houston. No, they gave theirs to Arizona. So yeah, I think
is
that's
it Arizona?
I think it's just Chicago with multiple first round picks. But if I can get into here and get maybe Atlanta to say, hey, I'll give you a ransom, I'll give you Kyle Pitts, I'll give you a good amount to get up to that first pick, and you're still going to have number 8. I'm thinking about that hard, and then I have that 8-9 back to back, and then I'm also getting a talent that Atlanta hasn't been able to utilize and things of that nature. Yeah. I'm close to that. Like I'm having conversations, but ultimately it just comes to that decision of who is my quarterback of the future. You're weighing the scouting report to what you already know. Luckily, you know a lot about Justin Fields and what his talent level is, and you're evaluating as hard as you can. And this could come down to like the week of the draft decision of, okay, we made our decision. We've talked to all these teams. Let's move on.
Yep.
And let's make this trade or let's draft. And if it is happening, we're going to see Justin Fields get traded that week as well. So it's going to be exciting for that first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was more. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought somebody else had a.
Yeah.
Arizona. Arizona has 2. Okay. And who is there? Someone? Arizona. I think that might be it. Arizona might be the next one.
That'd be nice if Arizona wanted to move on from their quarterback.
Yeah, and
both those first round picks.
But no, I think it's great points. And for me, like if I'm sitting there at number 1 and I'm Chicago and I got the number 1 pick and I got Justin Fields, he's the insurance policy. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like Michael brought up earlier with the quarterbacks. If I'm Chicago, I'm sitting there going, all right, what team needs a quarterback desperately? Because we got we need one, but we have one here that I could say, okay, maybe Arizona at number 4, and then you trade from 1 to 4, and then you get the next. And now you have 3 picks. You get the best, or maybe get Marvin Harrison at 4, go to 9, get a quarterback, and then you get something like a tackle later. So Chicago, I mean, if this was the year to be the number 1 overall pick, of course, they got that pick from Carolina. This was the year to get it.
Because you're like a quarterback that you could potentially go to.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're like, okay, if we get an unbelievable offer on the table, we have this backup plan, and it's not a bad backup plan. But if we feel like, okay, or we could say, okay, let's move him to Atlanta or to somebody else there. We could do that, and then we'll still have that 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
They're in a golden position. Now, which players, if you've had a chance to, we all know who the favorites are. We all have Marvin Harrison, Caleb, Drake May, Joe Alt from Notre Dame, et cetera, et cetera. Top 10 guys, guys that are popular. Everybody's talking about them. But is there any one player or a group of players that is not in those discussions right now that you go, man, you know what? I could see this guy rising up boards come draft time. When it's the draft time, this guy's going to be somebody in round 1 or 2 are going to go, damn, how the hell did that guy jump up? Is there anyone on there that you guys could think of right now early on that we should watch? Josh.
Yeah. So my guy early on, we're probably both going to go interior or on the line of scrimmage. Mine's Jordan Morgan. I absolutely love this guy.
Arizona,
I don't know how he is so far down. Amarius Mims, I'm a Georgia guy. I'd put Jordan Morgan above him. And spoiler alert, Jordan Morgan is my number 2 offensive tackle in this draft class.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm very, very big on this guy. As
You
well.
watch more tape on him.
Yeah, he's got good balance. He has good movement, and he's a big dude. He reminds me a lot of Andrews Pete with his body size, but his movement is just really nice. And then also a guy like Tyler Guyton. I'm seeing
Oklahoma.
him. Yep. Sorry. I'll say the college as well.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
No. I'm seeing him in like the top 10 of offensive tackles, but this guy is nasty. He has good speed. He has good agility. I think we could see him jump up as well. I think a lot of these offensive tackles just aren't positioned right, and we need to go through this process. There's also another guy on there that I think is going to be better as a guard rather than a tackle. And if we move him here, he might be the best guard in the entire class. And that's the Washington offensive tackle, Troy Fontanu. I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
I think if you move him interiorly, he's going to be a stud somewhere. He reminds me a lot of Elijah Vera Tucker, who I was huge on coming out in his class.
Yes. Well, I'll say, too, about Jordan Morgan. He was somebody who's caught my eye, too, that and Anthony Manzano in the house. Great to see you. Kesline, great to see you as well. Anthony says, what worries me about Jordan Morgan is his arms are too short to stay at tackle. I think he's going to be a guard in the NFL. I'd prefer Mims, Alt, or the Penn State guy.
Don't ever come to me about short arms because there's a guy currently at left tackle in Los Angeles for the Chargers that everyone said was a guard because his arms were too short. If his arms do not show up on tape as an issue, don't worry about it.
Right.
Because it's not a problem with him playing. It's not going to be a problem at the next level. And you don't see that with him currently. So I'm not worried about his arm size. I would love for that to happen. Please have that happen.
What do you think, Vogel? Who is one guy that we're not talking about out of the top 10, top players in the draft that you think could sneak up draft boards in April?
One fella that I have looked at a little bit is your Sean Newton, defensive line, Illinois. He's sneaky good in my opinion. I've watched a little bit of his tape and I've kind of fallen in love with him. And then the offensive tackle from Oregon State, Talise Fuaga, I like him too. That I think could go a little higher if there's a run on tackles, they may go a little higher than had anticipated.
So we'll stay with you, Michael, here, and you brought it up earlier, so it's kind of funny that we're going to stick with you on this one with quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Obviously, both teams, Dolphins, Cowboys, respectively, should be, have their guys for the coming season. Things could happen. You never know. But this is an NFL in general. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft, as you said. But how many do you expect to go in round one?
I think at least 4. I've got that's kind of my thing. I think obviously Williams in May, Jaden Daniels 3, and then this may surprise some people, but I've been listening to Daniel Jeremiah and he brought up a good point. Bo Nix. He feels like maybe that might be a perfect quarterback for the Saints because they play indoors. They have Tampa and Carolina, which are for the most part warm weather teams. There's not a lot of weather there that he may be a good. Oh yes, he brought up a good point. The kid from Duke,
Graham Barton.
Barton. Yeah, I like Barton too. I watched him a lot against Notre Dame last year, and I thought he did phenomenal in that game. So he's another one that could sneak up boards. But yeah, so I've got 4. You never know with those higher playoff teams what they're gonna do. Every once in a while they'll surprise you and pick a quarterback at 31 or 32.
James Williams, the safety out of Miami. I'm looking specifically at one person. It's probably James Williams from Miami. The guy's a freak athlete. It's certainly no team like the Chiefs in the back end. I like James Williams. He's 6'5". I don't have the weight. I think he's 230. I agree with you. He's what he probably put him at linebacker, outside. That dude you can put on a lot of spots. So good point, Anthony. Good player to put up there. And in regards to your comment about Chicago, I can't speak on that, brother. I don't know, with Justin Fields being their quarterback.
They wouldn't have drafted the last one if that was true.
Yeah, I mean, just me saying. Well, I do Wingate too. Wingate, same question though, brother. Yeah, so of course, you got the top guys there: Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, and so forth. Do you agree? Top four quarterbacks, and do you think Bo Nix might be that fourth one sneaking in?
I think. So if it was me drafting, I think you would see 4 in there. I think Bo Nix should be the fourth quarterback in this scenario. But I just think Bo Nix is just going to be a perfect fit for the Shanahan style offense that we've been seeing that's going around this entire league. It's a quick read, like get the ball out quick. I think he's perfect for that. Obviously, Caleb Williams is going to probably be the number 1 pick, probably the number 1 player in this entire draft. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and I think Michael Penix is going to be that last pick of someone saying this guy is just too much of a athlete. He has a really good football IQ. I need to get him, kind of similar to what we saw with Lamar Jackson.
He throws
so I think we could. It's probably going to be 4, but I think we can get that 5th player at the end of the first round, trying to get that 5th-year option from a team trading up.
Michael, I'll let you answer this one here, and then Wingate, you can follow up if you'd like. But Michael, being a Dolphins fan, and I know this one's hard because I know you like Tua too, but to put your foot on the fire here, if the Dolphins did say, you know what, not going to work out, we're going to keep him on his option, we're not going to extend him, we're going to find his replacement this year so we can replace him next year. Who's that guy, in your opinion, who fits Miami and Mike McDaniel?
I mean, Josh has brought up a good point. The Shanahan system, Bo Nix fits that perfectly. And the other guy that I've fallen in love with is Penix. But we might not want to bring in another left-handed quarterback because people can't seem to process left-handed quarterbacks and having decent games. So, but yeah, I've watched him since he was at Auburn. I wasn't a huge fan of his, but seeing him at Oregon and the way I watched a couple of the Washington-Oregon games this year. I think they ended up playing twice, and I could see, like what Josh was saying, is him in that Shanahan system.
What do you think, Josh? Outside looking in, of course, your wife's a Dolphins fan, but you follow Miami. Who do you think would fit? You think Bo Nix is the right answer?
I mean, I've been on every show I think you've been on saying let's get Bo Nix because he's the guy. I just think the issue I have with Tua, and I'm not making the decision if the team decides to move forward with Tua. I think it's a mistake regardless if Miami doesn't draft a quarterback in some round of this year's draft. They need to have someone to develop. But if you're looking at a top 1 or 2 round picks, I think it has to be Bo Nix because what he gives you today that Tua doesn't give you is arm strength. If we watched that last playoff game, the reason a lot of these incomplete passes were happening, I don't know if his arm died throughout the season, but the ball took forever to get to these quick 10-yard out routes, and it allowed defenders to get to the receivers too quickly. I don't know what the issue was. Did his arm die through season? And we've kind of seen that the year prior too. His arm just isn't as strong as it is early in the year because I was one of Tua's biggest fans earlier in the year. That guy was slinging the ball.
No, that's true.
Great.
Yeah. Yep.
But did his arm die? Like, I don't know.
There was a huge difference from the first half to that second half last month of the season where it was just, I mean, again, anybody saying that he was the problem, he wasn't the problem, but he wasn't the only problem with that team.
There were many problems
with the team, but there was an obvious issue with Tua at the second part of the season, is the last half of the season, that it was surprising because look, and that's why I say people go, oh, he's a bad quarterback. No, he's good. Can have some great times, but at that second half season, it was average at best. Michael, you've been an advocate as well of Tua, and we don't want to make this a show about it. But since the question was about the quarterback with Anthony with the Dolphins, what are your thoughts on Tua at the second half of the season overall for the season?
I agree with Josh. Something just didn't look the same. I don't know if part of it was that, that Tyreek was trying to get to 2,000, where it felt like if Tua and Tyreek weren't on, it felt like he was just missing everybody. Like, it didn't feel like there were times last year when Tyreek wasn't in or whatever, it felt like the ball was getting spread evenly amongst, and the one game that Tyreek was out, you saw the ball getting spread around. And so it just felt like he was relying on Tyreek too much, in my opinion, from what I saw, where, there were other throws that could have been made, on different parts of the field that, and of course the coaching didn't help when it's 3rd and 1 and we're throwing the ball, when you got guys that are averaging 4 yards a carry, like, that's kind of a quarterback and coach issue that hopefully gets figured out in these winter months here before it's time to go live again.
And I will say, first off, Daniel Meeham in the house. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you in here. Hunter, Real Talk Wrestling, whether that's Wingate or Chris. No one's saying about starting over at quarterback. Somebody asked a question, and we were just answering it. We were just answering it.
I will say a conversation needs to be had with the Miami front office. Is he the future? If he is, great. But we're still going to draft someone. If he isn't, then you are looking at that top tier guy. But you still need to. Kansas City still needs to draft a quarterback in the draft. Like, I believe you should be drafting a quarterback every 2 years.
Every year. I agree.
So it's so you don't get lost in situations where Tua gets hurt again and he's done for his career. Oh no, what do we do? You're prepared. And so a decision does need to be made. We're going into the 5th year. Every 5th year option, a decision is made. So that will happen. Whatever they decide, if he isn't the quarterback of the future, draft someone early. If he is, then draft someone late. So
we don't have a very good BBT. Anyway, all right. So look, let's see here. Daniel Meeham, too many problems with the Miami Dolphins to waste a pick on Bo Nix. He calls by Nix, but Bo Nix. So let's talk about those many problems. Let's touch on the Miami Dolphins. And we'll do this every show. We'll talk on every team. And of course, we'll have a Dolphins focus part of it, but we're going to focus on every player, every team, and roll that way. Let me go ahead and hit this. My first time trying these little
team spotlight.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Thank you, guys. Team spotlight is on the Miami Dolphins. And what's great about having somebody like Wingate, who hosts the show, hosts Beard Sports, and does all the stuff, is that he actually, I sent him the outline. He's like, hey, pointer, idea. Let's focus on the team first, and we'll get on to the other. It's like, dude, magic. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So let's do the team spotlight. Let's talk about the Dolphins. And I'm going to start with Wingate on this one because it's more of like an outside looking in. Yeah. You can't really say, and not that Vogel will or I will, because but we don't want the bias, right? We don't say, oh, you're just saying because you're Dolphin. No. But Wingate, man, let's talk about team needs for the Dolphins. And I want to do it in tiers, okay? So, and by what I'm gonna say, like tier 1 is this is a big need. This is a high need for Miami. They need to, with that 21st overall pick, 2nd round pick, one of those 2 positions need to be had here. And then you got tier 2 is mid need, not a major need, but definitely something they should look into getting. And then tier 3, low need. And you could go 3 picks, you could go 3 players or 3 positions, or 2. But what is a high 2 or 3 high needs for Miami?
I mean, the first highest need out there is offensive line, like more specifically the interior, because I just looked at their free agents, and Connor Williams is a free agent. Robert Hunt is a free agent. We don't trust the guy on the left side. So what do we currently have on the inside as an offensive line? That's the big thing. And the other worry is that this team is over the cap and they need to get under it. So we don't know if Connor Williams can come back. We don't know if Robert Hunt can come back. Love for them to come back, but if they can't, we need to figure that out. Can we just say offensive line in general, because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on with can't think of the left tackle right now, but the left tackle,
Taron Armstead.
The right tackle is
Austin Jackson.
Garbage. So we just need to figure out this entire offensive line.
Yeah.
I would also say, and while I don't feel like it is a huge need, I feel like it's a bigger need for the quarterback, is having a safety valve, and a valuable tight end as that safety valve can be very beneficial to his process, because they don't run as far. You have some speed as wide receivers, and just having someone that's just running a 5-yard out, or just having a curl real quick, or just running in these soft zones can be so valuable to Tua. So I think finding a valuable tight end, and it doesn't have to be an early selection. It could be someone in the 4th, 5th round, but someone that can just find the soft zone for Tua could be valuable. And then I would also say defensive line, because Christian Wilkins, I don't think he's being re-signed because of the cap situation. And while he played better this year, it could be because of the cap or because his contract was coming up. I think he's purely more of a run stopper in the future than he is as the pass rusher that we saw. I think he was just playing with his hair on fire every game due to it. But yeah, I think defensive line more so interiorly, because we need to replace Christian Wilkins. And I keep saying we, but I'm a Cowboys fan. Offensive line and then tight end.
Yeah.
Vogel, what do you think?
I had said O-line, tight end, and linebacker. I would like some more linebacker depth. And like when Wingate said defensive line, I was just kind of hoping for Christian. Yeah. Hoping that Christian resigns, but I mean, the cap's not pretty. We got too many guys that either need to get paid or need to get traded. And I'm not sure we're going to have that kind of money to sign.
Those are your top needs. What would you say is a mid need?
For me?
Yes, sir.
Running back or wide receiver, DB, running back. And then low need was quarterback and kick. Oh, I forgot high need, punter. That's high need.
Yeah.
I want a really, really good punter that can boom the ball. The guy yesterday kicked from like the 16 into the end zone or 1 yard. I was like, holy cow, where's that guy at when we need him?
I keep hearing this team needs a kicker. Every time I show up to one of these shows, I keep hearing a kicker.
Punter. We need a punter, not a kicker. We're good at kicker. I've been saying that all season, and he proved it. I can't hate on Jace Sanders.
No.
Any mid or low needs that you could think of, Wingate?
Yeah, I think DB in general, like was said before. I think safety is a need. I know what's going on with Deshaun Elliott. Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he's a free agent. Yeah,
he's a free agent. And then we don't know what's going on with the cornerback situation. Xavier Howard, what's going on with him? I know he has a huge contract that might need to be unloaded. And after that, like how comfortable, I know going into the playoff game, there's this huge conversation of, well, what do we have?
Eli Apple.
Yeah. So, cornerback just needs to be just DB in general, I would think. And I agree, linebacker is a huge need as well. The success of drafting linebackers over the last couple of years just hasn't been that great. No. So, yeah, I would agree linebacker is a big need as well. Middle tier need, since we're in that.
So, I mean, obviously, it is not far off. I put offensive line again. We don't know what's going to happen with Taron Armstead, the left tackle. I think Kendall Lamb did a great job, so I think Kendall Lamb should be resigned, whether we keep Armstead or not. Guard, because of that left guard position. We don't know what happens with Connor Williams. Maybe does that injury become a blessing disguised for Miami in terms of maybe bringing him back on a lesser deal, and if it's their thing. If they don't, their centers would have to be addressed as well. Linebacker, this should be the offseason that they attack that need. No, I don't want to hear any more excuses. I mean, offensive line, obviously, but linebacker has to be one of those, whether that is via draft or via free agency. Tight end's another one, and I agree with Wingate. Obviously, a lot of people talk about Jatavian Sander from Texas. Anthony brought up Brock Bowers. We will answer that question, but Brock Bowers out of Georgia, which of course Wingate could talk about. But a guy that I'm looking at that could be a later round pick. You maybe might have to move around 3rd, 4th round, maybe. But Jared Riley out of TCU is one that I like. He could block, he could catch. I don't think you have to reach for a tight end. I know it's sexy to try to think of that, but I don't think you have to. I think there's a lot of good tight ends in this draft. Castle's out of Tennessee is another one, a late round pick. But I do think Miami has to address that. Tier 2, wide receiver. I know Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. But look, when those guys were hurt or when those guys went down, we were trying to figure out who is the Dolphins going to throw to, who's Tua going to throw to. Miami, we were just saying how deep this receiver class is earlier in the show. This is the time. And Wingate brought it up. How long does Tyreek stay? This could be the coming year. It could be the final year for Tyreek. He may end up hanging it up. Who knows? Miami might be in cap hell again and might have to move him. You could draft this replacement right now and a third receiver. Whether that is Thomas, these guys. I mean, this receiver room is stacked this season. Let's talk about guys that Miami can actually even look at, because we know Harrison and Neighbors from LSU, they're not going to be there. But Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin, Leggett out of South Carolina, and so forth. There are so many damn good receivers that it is a need. It's a tier 2 need, in my opinion, and it should be a position Miami looks to grab. Defensive line, you don't know what happens with Christian Wilkins. I do believe he walks. I think Chris Greer kind of hinted at that, saying, hey, we gave him his offer. Our offer is here waiting for him. They want him back, but now they're not willing to go over a certain number. So they're saying, you've earned the right to go test free agency. See if you could go get higher than we're willing to pay you. If so, good luck to you. Thank you for everything. If not, you're back. If that happens, defensive tackle, and even if him coming back, you need a big, thick, big dude back there. So even if you bring Christian Wilkins back, defensive lineman is definitely still a tier 2 need. Corner, you brought it up. Cam Smith was drafted last year with the 2nd round pick. He's obviously going to have a bigger role next season, hopefully, because Fangio is gone. Yeah. You're the one who kind of sold me on him after we drafted, because I was kind of like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, dude, wait. So maybe he has a bigger role next year, but you're thinking about that 3rd, 4th defensive back. So corner to me, isn't he? Because I think Howard is gone. Howard said it. They said, hey, would you take a pay cut? And he asked the question. He said, if your boss asked you to take a pay cut, would you do it? So I think that answered. I think he's out the door. It is what it is. Thank you for everything. See you later. Corner could be a need later in the draft or possibly earlier. Tier 3, safety. You brought it up, Deshaun Elliott. There's a lot of good safeties in this draft. We said James Williams earlier. There's other guys too. Running back, you said is a tier 2 need. I think that's fair. I like it. I think if you get a bruiser, I know people are going to talk about the undrafted kid, Chris Brooks, and so forth, but there's a lot of decent running backs in this draft. If you could get one and you could save money from signing a Derrick Henry, go get him here. But because we don't know how long we're going to have Raheem Mostert, who had an amazing year last year. Yeah. But what was the years before? And think about what could happen after. You got to be prepared. And then punter. I did have punter as a need here at tier 3. I'm glad you said it out loud right after, because it's true. We need a punter. We can't bring that other guy back. Bobby, do you think we have to trade down? Daniel Meehan. I'm going to say this about the pick. First of all, I'm never against a trade down. If you could get more picks, you do it. But I will say this, Daniel. Don't sleep on Miami moving that pick. Miami's looking for a defensive coordinator. The Fangio experiment did not work. The Fangio hire was not a hire for them to go, oh, this is going to be our long-term or 2-year, 3-year term for defensive coordinator. This was a splash hire to make a run at a Super Bowl this year. It did not work. Miami now taking their due diligence. They're taking a different approach. They're getting a wide net to see who they could bring in to make that last-ditch effort to make a run. You say trade down. I'm not opposed to it. I know I'll let Wingate respond right after me. But I will say do not be surprised if Miami moves that pick. Because Chris Kerr said when they asked him, you haven't used your first rounders the last 2 seasons. Are you going to do it this year? He said no promises. So do not be surprised if Miami uses that pick to go get another splash. So we're talking, look, what's it needs, right? Offensive line, linebacker, defensive line. Those are the 3 positions. If there's a star player out there that could be had, Miami could use that pick to get that guy. That I'm just saying.
They can't be injured though. No injury history.
If that happens, I am looking at Chris Greer and saying, "Get out of the."
I've been saying that,
because he continues to do the same thing over and over again, and that's why the cap situation is.
Miami is a patch it up team.
Yes,
Miami
Chris Greer is a patch it up GM. He wants to win so bad because he knows he is on the hot seat and he needs to do something. Well, at least I hope he's on the hot seat because it doesn't seem like he is. But I talked about this earlier. We're at 25 potential. Dane Brugler, 25 first round graded players. You're sitting at 21. I don't move back out of where I can get a first round talent, especially in a draft like this, because I feel like this is very top loaded. While there is depth in this draft, there's a lot of really, really good talent at the top end, and I don't move away from that. So if I am trying to find someone, I'm moving up to get a top tier player at the position I need. But I'm not moving away from a blue chip player. I can't. It's just,
and that's the thing about it. And that's the thing about this draft, because you can go, okay, but it's what we know versus what we don't. And a lot of these prospects, any prospect, it's always his ceiling, and we don't know what's going to be once he's drafted. But with this type of class, this first round pick, especially at this part, the history says you can get a great player at 21. And in this draft class specifically, there's a lot of good players, and you could potentially come away with an impact player.
At all the positions that we need, there's going to be somebody available at 21 that will.
If you talk about your team, and if you're talking about the Dolphins and naming your top 5 best players,
let me do this very quick.
Are all 5 of them over 26 or 27? There's something wrong with your roster, because the average of an NFL roster is much lower than that. So you need to find great talent that is young to build this team around, rather than looking at finding this star piece that someone doesn't want and they're willing to trade away. Rather than, because if I have my team has Micah Parsons, I don't care if you give me 2 first round picks, I'm not trading him away, because he is just that fundamental to our team that I can't do it. And the Dolphins need to find that piece as well.
It's great points. Make sure here. I want to run this very quick. I just want to see, because we will do at the end the mock draft simulator, and we'll have a chance to play GM, and whether you move down, I don't think moving up's and up, whatever, but we'll play around with that. But I'm going to run it very quick because I want to see. Okay, so I run the mock draft simulator. It goes down to 21. I'm going to do 5 players, the top 5 players, or let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, because these are ones that we all would like, even though I see later. So number 1, and this is the point of, if you trade out of that pick, who are you missing out on? Okay, so we got Kean Coleman, wide receiver, Florida State.
Love him.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker out of Clemson.
Love him.
Brian Thomas, LSU. Georgia tackle Armias Mims. Odoni Mitchell, Texas wide receiver. Cameron Kinchins, safety, Miami. Troy Fautano, Washington offensive lineman. And then you got Kamari Lassiter, Georgia defensive back, and then Miami defensive lineman Leonard Taylor. Those are players that, let's say hypothetically, Miami traded their first round pick. Here comes the 21, whoever they traded to. Those are the player on the board. Vogel, I'll start with you with the names that I said, and I could repeat them. If you're sitting there and you're watching a draft and you know that was Miami's pick, whoever they got, you go, and that player was on the board, you're going, oh shoot, man, we should have kept that damn pick.
Yeah. So any of those guys just improve the quality. Now, and unless somebody wants to move up, or we only move back 2 spots, and you have those set, like, you know what I'm saying?
Different.
Like if I'm moving back 2 spots and I can get,
this is you trading it away for a splash.
Star
Like
player.
if
No,
let's say
no,
now what player? I know, but if that's what I'm saying, that's the type of player. If Miami did trade this pick out, no promises. Chris Greer said can't make a promise that we won't move this pick. He's done it the last 2 years. I'm saying is they trade that pick 21. These are the players on the board. You brought up Fautanu from Washington, Amaya Smith from Georgia, Leonard Taylor out of Miami, defensive lineman. What happens with Christian Wilkins? That's potentially what you're missing out of. Trading down is a different beast, as Daniel's brought up. You would trade down. You trade down a couple picks, or you trade into the second round early on. That's different. You still got a buttload of good players that are going to be there. But trading out of that pick, you got a second round pick, then you got the 5th, 6th, 7th. Miami is a patch it up job right now with Chris Greer.
I think the only person that I would give up that 21st pick for would be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, let's be honest. Like,
all right, that's fair. That's different. Okay, but
was any of the centers on that at all?
Centers, none of the ones that I. But
okay,
I've done
this one. Jackson Powers Johnson still available. Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia is still available.
Jeez.
Frazier. I am
Zach Frazier
from West Virginia.
Yeah,
and I know that he's not the top of people's boards, but I watched a lot of his tape.
I know we're going to be
falling in love with him.
We're going to be talking about this a little bit later, but Jackson Powers Johnson reminds me of Jason Kelsey.
Yeah,
like
really.
Yeah,
dude. You got me perked up, man. You got me perked up. All right.
Like you watch him and you're like, okay, this is Jason Kelsey.
All right. I can't wait to watch him. I have to say, I have been meaning to do the center.
Troy Fontanu, like I'm Washington, throwing my pen across the room if I can't take him at that position for Miami, because Elijah Vera Tucker, this guy can interiorly be an all-pro at the next level. But also he has the flexibility of playing outside if you need him to. Think of, and I'm going to throw a big name out there. Think of Zach Martin. He's probably going to be really good on the interior, and he can play outside if you need him to, like he did a couple years back for Dallas. But this guy is going to be an all-pro in his career.
And here's the thing, even like, and Courtney of Dolphins Diaries, Goon Squad, everything and above, tuning in. She says Jackson Powers, even if Miami went that route and Connor Williams did come back, you got full flexibility. You can put Connor at guard now.
At guard, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you're like, it's golden apples. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, we talked about team needs. Offensive line was number 1 for all of us. And when I did the Twitter poll, it was number 1 on the Twitter poll. So we're going to talk offensive line. And let me try this again. I think I have it called. Oh. Perfect. All right. So, here we go.
Player rankings per position.
Was that you in the background playing with the echo a little bit?
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Pour it out of my mind, brother. Just trying to make it here good. All right.
Perfect.
All right. So let's start off right now with offensive tackles. Okay. We're going to talk top 5 offensive tackles. And we're going to start off with Coach Michael Vogel. This is his bread and butter. If anybody, I love the trenches, defensive line, offensive line. I played defensive line in high school. But if anybody loves offensive line, it's this guy. He preaches it every year. Season 1, we're into season 2. He's pounded the table. He's messaging me. So I want to know. We're going to dive into the offensive line, brother. So your top 5, right? And it will change, of course, as we get into this further on. And we'll update it, of course. But right now, who are your top 5 offensive tackles in this draft?
Alt out of Notre Dame, Latham out of Alabama, Fashanu out of Penn State, Fuaga out of Oregon State, and Mims out of Georgia. And that's only because I haven't seen film on the guy Josh was mentioning earlier. I haven't
Jordan Morgan.
Morgan. I haven't seen Morgan yet. So
I love him.
Yeah. Those are the top 5. And I know people are going to call me a homer for having Alt at 1, but I mean, I watch
No.
every game.
Alt is a
A
beast,
homer.
dude.
He's just
homer.
That's not a homer.
No.
Somebody has balls. They're calling you a homer with Joel, dude. 6'8", 322.
yeah, that
Dude's a
dude
beast.
is a beast. Yeah,
And he plays like a beast too.
just makes
who's
it look
your-
effortless sometimes.
Yeah. So let me get Joe Alt.
And
You
then
said-
Latham out of Alabama.
Okay, JC Latham got you.
Yeah, and then Fashanu out of Penn State, who's a lot of people had number one coming into the year. I just felt like the tape that I watched it. I mean, I didn't see the first
I'm with
tackle
you.
overall. And then Fuaga from Oregon State, I kind of have fallen in love with him a little bit. And then Mims out of Georgia are my top 5 right now.
So I do have to ask, the Penn State tackle, did you see him just be like he's sloppy, right? Like I didn't like what I saw. Later in the game, which game did you watch? Did you watch the Ohio State game?
I do. Yeah, I think it was Ohio State. I watched the cut. Yeah. Yep.
I watched the Ohio State game because I want to see him go against NFL
the
talent.
best, right? Yeah.
So I watch him, and then late in the game, he just gets sloppy. His his hand technique is just off. And he
on the ground a couple times.
Yes.
Whiffing on
and he gets pushed back a lot. And I saw that, and I'm just like, I don't see they're comparing him a lot to the left tackle and I'm awful with names right now, which is bad for me. But the left tackle for the 49ers, no one else can think of his name either, but he's the best left tackle in football.
Trent Williams. Yeah, I had the process.
A lot of people are comparing him to Trent Williams, and I'm like, no. Like Trent Williams,
I don't see that
dog.
at all. Yeah,
like you watch him, and he's throwing people around, and he's pulling out towels from people. Like
he's got a nasty streak.
He is not him, and I'm right there with you on not the biggest fan compared to a lot of people.
So very quick, I want to get Josh's top 5 as well, but before that, first off, Rob says offensive line number 1 for sure, linebacker number 2 for Courtney. Anthony Manzano says question. What's that quick? Question: with all the quarterbacks being pushed down or being pushed up because of quarterback needy teams, how much would Miami have to give up to move up for J.C. Latham, Joe Alt, and Brock Bowers? They'd have to give up a lot. Maybe J.C. Latham is more reachable, but those 2 other guys are going to be high up there.
Latham is much more reachable.
Yeah, and I'm comfortable waiting at that point. I think
like Joe Alt could be number 2. Brock Bowers could go top 5.
Yeah, it's but thoughts on my draft traded down. We'll touch on that. The mock draft part. We'll touch on that part, Anthony. All right, Josh. Your top 5 offensive tackles in this draft.
Well, Anthony isn't going to be a fan because he wants to trade down, and one of my guys is in the top 5. One of his guys is in the top 5. Joe Alt is number 1 for me. Notre Dame. He's just the one thing I could pull away is that he doesn't use his strength to the way I would like to see my offensive lineman. I called him more of a babysitter rather than a parent. I think he could be more powerful in the things that he does. But everything else is just really, really good. Joe Morgan is my number 2 offensive tackle. I like the way he moves. There's been some people out there that compare him to Tyron Smith. And he's a big dude too.
Yeah.
I think he's 6'5", 325, 335, somewhere around there. So he's a big dude and moves very well for his size. And then my number 3 guy is Fuaga out of Oregon State. He's a mauler. He just has everything you need in an offensive tackle. My number 4 guy is Fashanu from Penn State. We've talked about him. And then Tyler Guyton is my number 5 guy. Who just plays nasty. And I feel like while left tackle is the one position you can get away with being a finesse guy, and I think that's what Joe Alt is. I want to see nastiness in my offensive line, and you're getting that from Guyton and you're getting that from Fuaga. So that's why they're my guys. But also another late round guy that we're not going to be able to see in this process, could go undrafted because he got hurt, is Kieran Amagaji.
Was he the one from Harvard or Yale or something?
He's from Yale.
Yale. Yeah. He went to Yale, got hurt. I asked you guys why he wasn't, I think I asked you guys, but why wasn't he in the post-season All-Star games, and he tore his quad.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not going to see him in this
yesterday.
process. If you throw in his tape, you're like, oh, I really want to see this guy against top competition because he has some technical things he needs to work on, but you can really see it there with him.
Yeah.
So he might be someone to keep an eye out in this draft process too.
You guys have any thoughts on Kingsley out of BYU?
I haven't gotten to him yet.
Yeah.
There's a couple
6'6",
guys I'm
315,
still
big guy. Patrick Paul's another guy, 6'7", 315. I just love his size. From Houston. But guys, and let me just say for everyone tuning in, as we get deeper, we will come back around to different players, different positions. So we'll get more into these guys as well. These are just right now we're talking about top players rankings, but we'll do it where we go, okay, player spotlight, and Coach Vogel will talk about Joe Alt or talk about Kingsley out of BYU and specific Josh Wingate. We did that last year. We had the video playing. We'll touch on all these players. Yeah. So, and any guys you want to talk about for people watching, any guys you guys want to talk about, put in the comments or send us a comment on Twitter, whatever, and we will make sure that we get it noted and we'll touch on these players as we go. Now we're going to touch on top 5 offensive guards in this year's draft right now, starting the offseason. Super Bowl still coming up. But Wingate, we'll start with you this time. Who are your top 5 offensive guards?
So I talked about him before. Fanatanu is my top guard. I think a lot of people are going to have him at tackle. I'm sliding him on the inside with the ability to go on the outside. He plays with a nastiness. If you watch him play the tackle position, he looks like a guard, like playing the tackle position. So there's that. Cooper Beebe is my number 2 guy, Kansas State. I then have I haven't been able to get Christian Hayes tape. A lot of people have Christian Hayes as their number 1 guy. I haven't been able to get his tape, so I'm not going to say he's in there, but a lot of people talk about him. Matthew
UConn,
Jones,
right? Christian Hayes is
UConn. Yeah.
I've tried all avenues, put it out on Twitter trying to find it. No one responded. But he is at the Senior Bowl. Which I'm excited to see him there. Matthew Jones is going to be my number 3 guy out of Ohio State. And then from there, I didn't watch too much more, but I did watch Christian Hahogani. So he would be my number 4 guy. If you throw Christian Hayes in there, he would then be my number 5.
All right, Vogel, your top 5 guards.
My first was Zinter from Michigan. I really like him a lot. And then Barton from Duke is one of my favorites. Mahogany out of Boston College. Yeah. And then Haynes. And like you're saying, like this is just you get on YouTube, you say highlights, and then you're getting the highlights. So you're not getting everything.
And I don't even think highlights.
Yeah,
I didn't even get that.
BB rounded out the top 5.
And I said mahogany. It's mahogany. I had an H there instead of
mahogany. Yeah, from BC.
That's one thing I like about the guy out of Washington, man. Is he can play multiple positions. I always love those guys because you could put him at guard, you could put him at tackle if a guy goes down. So that guy Fantano out of Washington is right up there. And
you watched him?
I watched some of him. Yeah.
He is a stud.
I can't. There's a lot of. The offensive line's another one. Right. Again, this is the year. Obviously Miami needs it. This is the year to need it and go get it. Don't skip it. There's a lot of good players. And Cooper Beebe is another one out of Kansas State. He was a high-ranked guy last season. Decided to go back to school. Coming out this year, he's going to be a good guard coming out. See, and if I want to read someone's comments here, Scotty loves Zach Frazier, Vogel. So they're happy that you're talking about him, man. Let's see. Barton will be in play for us because he can play every position. That's Graham Barton out of Duke, right? Yes. Yeah. 6'5", 314. What are your guys' thoughts on my top guards for the draft? So these are Anthony Manzano's top guards.
Jordan Morgan,
Zach
Center, Cooper Beebe, Christian Hayes,
Javian Cohen.
You think Morgan will be a guard, or you think he'll be tackle?
He's going to be a tackle.
To me, he's a tackle. He's a tackle.
Yeah.
Maybe first season, depending on what what's the tackle situation, whatever team he gets drafted with, they might move him to guard, give him some reps. Yeah. But he's a tackle. at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you got to keep, like, if he fails at the next level, then yeah, move him in. But I don't see him failing. I'd throw him in the top 15 of this draft.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins, and of course we're talking it doesn't matter in Miami, we talk about everything, but we know specifically for Miami, they got Connor Williams. He got injured. They're see if he comes back or not. But what's great about Connor Williams, if you bring him back at center, you still have one of the top centers, but you could easily move him to guard if you decide to draft one of these top guys. So Vogel, I'm going to start with you. Who are your top 5 offensive centers?
All right, I went with Frazier from West Virginia. I love the fact that he's a 4-year national champion as a wrestler. I think just being able to counteract some of the and all that stuff that you get as a center in there. It's like 1A and 1B with him and Powers Johnson out of Oregon, and then Van Pran out of Georgia, Nugent out of Michigan, and Limmer out of Arkansas.
It's a good one, man. What do you think, Wingate?
I didn't get to watch enough of the other guys, but Powers Johnson, I would have at number 1 again. He reminded me of Jason Kelsey. Like, you throw on the tape and you're like, he runs like him. He hair on fire type guy. He's a mauler. He gets out to the he plays sideline to sideline, gets out to the boundaries really, really well. And that's one of the best things that Jason Kelsey did. Jackson Powers Johnson is the guy, number 1 for me. Zach Frazier is going to be number 2 again. If we're talking about the top 3 guys, they're all maulers. They're all strong as can be, and they play with a toughness, which I think every center should do, because they're the starting piece of your offensive line. Without a great center, your offensive line is going to fall apart. So it would be Jackson Powers Johnson, Zach Frazier, and then Cedric Van Pran. The reason Cedric Van Pran isn't higher for me is because when he gets to the next level, he can get lost a little bit. And as a zone schemed offense that Miami runs, I want to see someone that gets to the next level and gets to his guy rather than getting lost in the mix.
And what's interesting about that is, of course, you are a Georgia fan, so you watch a lot of Georgia. So it's that second level where it draws your eye and you go, oh, there's an issue with that that he needs to fix. So that's why he's in your number. He's your number 3 there.
And I will never talk about a Georgia player by watching through my
your fan
lenses.
I
always go back and watch them, and I think he's great. He's got the toughness, he's got the size, he's got a great anchor, but then when he gets to that next level, it's just the other guys just do it so much better.
Perfect. All right. So we're about an hour and 7 minutes, and it's been a blast for everybody. Again, you watch it on the clock on the Fitstock Sports Network. You got Josh Wingate, Coach Vogel, Bobby Fitstock, as you know. We appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't, hit that like and subscribe button. Share this with your friends, your family, as the great Steve Malloy would say. And we'll be here every Monday night, 8:00 Eastern, talking NFL draft, different positions, different teams, different players, of course, touching Dolphins. G-Man, guys, if you're trying to predict who we draft, it's easy. Look for the most known players. There's the G-Man, or corner that will never play. There's the G-Man. He's in the house. All right, so he's
here every Monday at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
an hour late, but yeah,
that's right. All right, so now it's time, and I got one for that one too. I got something for this one too, guys. Bear with me here.
Team Mock Draft Simulator.
Yeah, boy. All right. So we're gonna use the mock draft simulator. We do this every year. We try to do it maybe every show, every other show, but kind of fresh it up, whatever. And we're going to use ProFootballNetwork.com's mock draft simulator because it worked so well last year. We'll try that. So bear with me here as I get it popped up. And Vogel will be the new general manager of the Miami Dolphins to start us off. Let me go ahead and share this screen.
So if someone can fall in this draft, who are you looking for?
Let us.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. If one person in the first round can fall, who are you looking for?
I would love it. Either one of the top receivers or one of the top 2 tackles would be phenomenal. But I'm not holding my breath for any of that.
Well, let's see. And again, we're just gonna do straight up trade down. There's no trading up. Maybe we'll do that later on. We'll just deposit right away. But right now, it's just letting the draft fall to us, and then you could decide either to take the picks or any kind of trade that's being offered, or you make your pick. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's draft.
Oh, we're doing 7 rounds.
Team mock draft. Yes, sir. All right. Let me know if you could see.
Skip.
Rejection.
I don't.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Do we see who's up there in that option there?
What?
I am running to the podium and saying please and thank you.
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, LSU.
Like I am 100% running there.
Is that your number one pick?
Yeah. I mean,
there you go.
Cow.
Pair him up with Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Miami does have a 2nd round pick. There's some good players falling
the Eagles
here.
got Jason Kelsey again. Jackson Powers.
Oh, they got his replacement. I don't like that. I don't want to fall that. Reject that. Reject.
All right.
So 55. Oh, hey, hi. How are you? Apparently I went out of full screen, which threw me off. I can't see.
You just let me know. Do you need me to
look at? I want interior offensive line, so centers or guards.
All right, so let's pull this up here. Let's go guard first.
OG.
Christian Hines is there. And Zach Sinter is still there at one. He's ranked 142 in here. And you got OC Zach Frazier.
Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Frazier. 156.
I mean, you walk away with this day one.
Yeah.
Day one, you walk away with Malik Neighbors, and then day 2, you start out with Frazier.
I might have to be the ballsy one here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, Scotty. Scotty says, I would be surprised if we go wide receiver in the first round. I would say do not sleep on any position for the Dolphins other than quarterback, in my opinion, for the first pick or the second pick.
Can you give me the all rundown there? See what we have under all.
We're on
all. Oh, that is
now.
all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is all. Okay. Whoa. There I go. I just lost everything. There we go. I keep hitting the wrong button. I'm getting too excited about being the GM over here. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to go Theo Johnson, tight end out of Penn State.
There you go. Dolphins looked at him last year with his tag team partner who ended up getting drafted somewhere else, but Theo Johnson was somebody they looked at. Corner, don't be surprised. But now that Fangio is gone, Scotty, I think Cam Smith will get an opportunity next year. All right.
Can you go to offense and tackles? Let's see what we got on tackles. Yeah, give me Nathan Thomas out of Louisiana.
Nathan Thomas. At 238, 199 right now.
All right. Let's see what else I need. Give me defense. Give me Fabian Lovett out of Florida State. 238.
Don't be surprised with corner at all. Again, I think Cam Smith gets an opportunity, but you're talking about, of course, Eli Apple, Kader Kohu. Do they get somebody to replace those guys or start over them? Nick Needham's a free agent. So, yeah, first, second round pick, you're absolutely right. Corner, you can't sleep on it.
Go offense for me real quick.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Scroll down a little bit. I'm trying to see something here. Give me Jacob Monk from Duke, offensive guard.
There you go. And guys, everyone watching, your thoughts on Michael's draft class as the first-year general manager replacing Chris Greer. Go to punter.
Yeah. I should have done that. I still want to. They said that Ariza, is that his name? That he's been cleared. I wouldn't mind giving him a tryout.
Anthony Manzano gives you a B.
The one guy I saw that was late in this draft was Joe Milton III.
See,
quarterback. Yep.
Him.
When I saw him, I kind of thought about it. I was like, oh, dude.
When you
I
heard
thought
me
about
go,
it. Yeah, and I was like, I'll get a quarterback with my next pick, and then I didn't recognize any of the quarterbacks.
I saw Sam Hartman and Joe Milton III, and I was like, at where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you don't have a lot of picks in the top 100, which is very disheartening.
Nope.
I've done this a couple times, and somebody wants to give me like 4 picks for moving back like 3 spots.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump all over that, but I couldn't get the.
All right. So this is Wingate's turn, and I'll take the last one.
Yeah, Joe.
I've seen that several times. Ooh. Okay, so you got 3 trade offers here.
Oh.
I'm taking
23 and 59, 49, 80, 147, or 31.
No, I'm taking that one.
I like that one. Yeah. I like that one.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, I don't know. That was kind of nice. Can you go back to that last one? Like, I'm over here saying, nope, don't trade back.
Yeah.
But that one, I'm taking
trade
that
a couple.
one too.
Yeah, I would take that.
I'm taking that one too.
All right.
No, I'm not trading.
So here's interesting. Right here, look, you trade 31. Adonai Mitchell is still there. Oh, wait, sorry. What the hell's going on around here? Look, size 6'4", 194. Leonard Taylor's there. What happened to Christian Wilkins? Bo Nix on the board. Graham Barton.
Michael Penix.
A lot of good players at this. Yep, a lot of good players.
My number 5 offensive tackle is on the board. If you scroll down a little bit.
Yep.
Tyler Guyton is there.
Ooh,
yep.
Jordan Morgan's there
too.
Fisher out of Notre Dame, right tackle.
I'm probably going while Jordan Morgan is my number 2. I don't think he's going to fit your scheme as greatly as Tyler Guyton will. I'm going to go Tyler Guyton.
Yes, love it.
So here,
now I have so many picks. No, I'm not trading.
Yeah.
All right. This is
Jackson Powers Johnson. Here we go. We're going offensive line heavy. I don't
look
care.
at that.
Let's go Jackson Powers Johnson and just rebuild this offensive line.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But look at
I have.
So let me hold on. I could click here. So you got 59, 63, 185, 199.
Oh my god! I can't keep trading back. This is going to be so unrealistic.
So
I want picks in the top 100.
Yeah.
So you trade from 180.
There's 67 and 100.
Yeah, let me do that one. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't. When you start giving me stuff for next year, I don't want it.
Who do we have here?
Let me just say this very quick. The 2 top guys. First off, there's 3 guys here that I'm seeing. You don't know what happens to Christian Wilkins, Chris Jenkins, Sweat from Texas, Jenkins from Michigan. 2 guys I like. Edrin Cooper from Texas and linebacker. That's a good. I mean, those are guys that catch my eye right there. But tell me where you want me to go if you want me to look at any particular position.
I'm really liking Chris Jenkins just because it's Chris Jenkins' brother or son. So
there you go.
But let me see that real quick. Let me see a little more details on him. I've watched him slightly, and I do agree.
285.
Burst and twitch is great. I just also think, just like a lot of Michigan defensive tackles, he gets caught up a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So tell me this, as Miami fans, your other defensive tackle, is he more of the pass rusher or is he a run stopper?
Sealer, yeah. Sealer is more of a pass rusher. I would say he's the pass rushing.
Let's look at Sweat real quick.
Sweat's always the guy I go after, dude.
Yeah.
6'4", 346, monster. A monster.
This is where we get in trouble because we don't know who the future defensive coordinator is. Because if it is Leslie Frazier, is he going to like a big guy like that, or is he going to want one technique that is more twitched up? How is Sealer as a run blocker or run stopper?
He's pretty good in the middle.
Yeah. So I'm going to go off of the fact that Leslie Frazier is going to be the defensive coordinator. And I think he's going to look for sealer being the one technique in the future, and he's going to look for a 3 technique, which is going to be Chris Jenkins.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that.
Chris Jenkins. Like it.
So we're going to take Chris Jenkins here. No, we're not going to take that.
Yeah.
I already know.
We're not trading with you, Jets.
So my next, if we can get into Ennis Rackstraw or whatever we want to say his name is, I want to see his size, and we do not know his size at the moment.
Let me see. I'll tell you right now.
6 foot. We need a cornerback fairly high.
Yeah, 6 foot, 187.
I'm going to go with this guy. I probably should look at everyone else. If we just do a quick stroll through, just to see who else is on there, so I'm not missing anyone.
Josh Newton out of TCU.
Yeah, let's go with Rackstraw there.
I like it.
I have way too many picks.
You got one. Hey, I wouldn't hate having all those picks. Miami needs picks.
And I'm the guy that says don't trade back.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediately trade back. Okay, we're gonna reject that. Just because I want picks in the top 100, even though that's the case. I'm taking one of my favorite tight ends in this entire draft is Brevin Spann-Ford.
Oh,
I think he is such
out of Minnesota.
Great
6'7",
talent.
269. Jeez.
He has soft hands. He moves quicker than you anticipate.
There's our red zone threat.
And he's nothing similar to the 6'7", 6'8" guy that you had here before. He's a big bodied. He can block.
There we go.
He's not he's not going to stretch the field. He is someone that finds the soft zones within the first 10 yards and sits there, and then he'll find the next one if someone covers him. He is going to be someone of beauty.
Ooh, Eichenberg sitting there.
We don't want Eichenbergs here.
That's true.
We're anti Eichenbergs.
199.
We got a long way to go. And let's see what quarterback falls to 199.
Not for us, because we'll be live. We got 3 days of draft coverage. We'll be there for 4
right.
hours.
That's right. Sam Hartman.
Is Sam Hartman there?
Yeah.
Oh, let's reject that. Let's go to offense. Because I do like Milton a little more, and we hit that quarterback. Is Milton there?
He's not.
Looks like it.
So we're going to go Sam Hartman, quarterback.
Sam Hartman?
Notre Dame,
I like it.
and we are
I like
getting Miami lover boy. Everyone is going to compare him to Dan Marino because every lady is going to love him. But
That's a good haul right there, man.
Tyler Guyton, Jackson Patty Johnson, Chris Jenkins, Ennis Rackstraw. I love the Brevin Spann-Ford. Put him, if you haven't watched him, throw him on.
I'm going to watch him. I'm going to write him down. But Guyton, love that pick. Powers Johnson, love it even more after you compare him to Jason Kelsey. I'm going to watch a lot more of him. But no, right there, those first 3 picks, especially the top 2, that's a winner in my book.
Yeah.
All right. Now the pressure is on. And I like trade down, so watch me not get nothing. It's like
and everyone that commented to me, I went full screen, so I couldn't see anyone's comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen now too. But all right.
So here's the question.
So
not to interrupt you.
Right now,
if Brock Bauer goes 14, are you on the phone trying to get the 13? Like, I need this guy. Because this guy is a playmaker. This guy is well,
you sell me on it. Why I should.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to trade up. Like you watch him, you're a Georgia fan. We know how, I was a huge Darnell Washington guy. I know how great Brock Bowers is. You know what I mean? I know. So is he worth the trade up? Do you know how great he was as a college tight end? Can you foresee him transitioning into pro football as just as great?
Yeah. This guy is an absolute stud. Like, if you were to put him, like, compare him as a tight end to like the wide receiver position, he's the Tyreek Hill of tight end. He does everything. Like, he would take end arounds to the house 60 yards. You don't see that from tight ends. He plays in the slot. He plays on the outside. He plays in the backfield. You just move him as a piece, and you have to account for him. If you put Brock Bowers, you put Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle on an offense, you guys are scoring.
With a Derrick Henry at running back. Okay.
Yeah, I think Dallas might have Derrick Henry, but but you put him in this offense, and he's the tight end speed factor that you have at wide receivers. Honestly, look at what Tyreek Hill is at wide receiver. He is the equivalent at tight end, at the tight end position.
So I know Anthony brought that up earlier about trading up. I think I would feel a lot more comfortable trading up from 21 to 13, 14, if that's the case, more than into the top 10.
But what do you give up for that?
Well,
you don't
okay,
really
so
have a weapon. You don't have anything to move up.
Well, we got to look at what Las Vegas needs. What does Las Vegas need that you think of? I mean, I guess the only valuable piece we could obviously move, Vogel, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I guess the right is Xavier Howard, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Yeah.
If you move 21, you move Howard, you jump up from 21 to 13, and you go get your tight end or whomever else. That might be the play.
Would you do 21 Howard? Because Howard's at the end of his career. I don't know if he has that value to move up in like a 3rd or 4th round pick next year.
What was the draft pick?
You're going
next year?
13. 3rd or 4th round pick.
3rd round.
Oh yeah. I'd move for sure. If you're telling me, if it's a 3rd or 4th next year, and plus with a 1st rounder and Howard, I'll do that to move up. If you're giving me a player, and again, you're looking at the players that are possibly there, not just Brock Bowers, but if Bowers, that type of player, J.C. Latham, whatever, Cooper DeJean as a corner, that's another. Those are top tier players that you could do that. So trading one Waddle to no. They would need a receiver, so trade 21 with Waddle to the Raiders. I would not give up Waddle. I'm trying to add receivers. I'm trying to add weapons.
If I'm getting rid of a receiver, it's Tyreek rather than Waddle. I think Waddle's the future. While it doesn't seem like that right now, I think Waddle is the future. Tyreek is someone that he has an expiration date, and you're moving there.
Trade Christian to go up. Christian's a free agent, Peter. That would be the other option, but he's a free agent. All right, so let's go ahead and here. So I'm gonna take this pick. I'm gonna take this trade because of the players that are still on the board that are gonna be there, I believe, falling into the 2nd round. So I'm taking
33, 65, and 101.
Yeah. So I'm adding a pick and I'm moving up. And bam. So I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that.
That 1st round next year was pretty intriguing.
It is. I know. But
I know we're drafting for this year, but that.
Yeah.
And can I say that Ladd McConkey is the Amon-Ra St. Brown of this year's draft?
He's been very intriguing for me. I always go back to him, and and I'm like, I want, and not just for Miami, but in general. But I think of Miami, I'm like, man, size. He's 5'11", right? I don't have it in front of me, but he is.
What is he? I don't know if he's 5'11". He seems taller than, or at least
plays
taller.
Plays taller. If he's 5'11", 185,
6 foot.
But but he always draws my attention. Okay, so I know a lot of people are going to say Jeremiah Trotter because we need a linebacker, and I get it. I understand it. But I know there's guys later in this draft that can give me just as much and fit better into my defense. So I'm going to roll with my guys here, Troy, Botano, Washington, offensive lineman. That's be my first pick.
He's a stud. In the 2nd round, that's a 1st round talent in the 2nd round.
So no, thank you. No, thank you. All right. So looking at this, and I always like to go back and look. All right. Pretty golden here.
Yeah.
So we're going JJ. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So hell. All right.
That edge there.
So I'm gonna be a little. Yeah, exactly. And I understood everything you were saying, but for me, this guy, it always catches my eye, and I just drawn to him. His size, I think he's gonna be a special player. 6'4", 346.
346.
I know the guy that my defense coordinator a few years back was the guy that taught Leslie Frazier everything he knows. And in order for Dallas to get a 346 defensive tackle in that defense, you would have had to threaten everyone in his family because he was not doing it. So that's why I did the way I did. But I know I 100% understand what you're saying.
No, absolutely. And I know, again, I see Jatavion Sanders there. I like him too. Another Texas product, great pass catcher, all that, whatnot. But again, there are guys later in the draft that I know that are there that I would be okay taking and missing out on, even though I like Jatavion Sanders.
Sweat or Michael Hall Jr. from Ohio State? I haven't watched Sweat, so I can't really speak to him too much, but you throw this guy on and he is hair on fire. Ohio State just throws out every defensive tackle that plays with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
So
damn. I'm going to roll with Sweat here.
Yeah.
I got to watch more of Michael Hall, but I'm going to go with Sweat because you don't know what's going on with Christian Wilkins. But even if Christian Wilkins stays, I still think they should address offensive line.
Yeah.
74 and 109.
Yeah. I'm just taking a look at who is currently on the board, and I feel comfortable doing this because I'm basically moving up 199 to 109, just trading down to 170. I want to do that. All right. Nope. Okay. So we got an offensive line, defensive line. Doesn't mean we're done picking there. Look at the offense.
Will Shipley.
Any thoughts on Cade Walker? Any thoughts on Cade Stover? Smaller tight end.
No. Yeah. He's your prototypical tight end. He's not going to he's not that athletic guy. He's going to block.
Sounds like another Smythe.
He might be. Yeah. But he has soft hands. He's not overly think of the cowboy tight ends that they constantly draft. Yeah. It's that.
Yeah.
You just have to get them in the right offense.
Let's see. Peter says Sweat caught a touchdown pass in the bowl game. There you go. Sweat is a beast. I know it. Let's take a look at safety. Per Anthony here. Can you go to safety? Javon Ballard is there. Thomas Harper out of Notre Dame. Tyke Smith, Jaden Hicks. But I'm going to have to roll here with wide receiver. Devontae Walker.
Yep.
Got the size, 6'3", 192. He is a speedster. So you not only get the size, but you get somebody who's not going to impact your speed on offense. Yep. I'm going to roll with Devontae Walker.
What is our thought on Will Shipley? Because he was a stud in Clemson. He was the offense.
Yeah, and he would intrigue. When I'm thinking of running back for Miami, for specifically talking Dolphins, I'm thinking size and power because of Achane. But if it wasn't that, this guy would be one of the guy because he would fit with McDaniel.
But what if you put him in the slot? What if he wasn't a running back for you? You threw him in the slot, and then he was in packages where he does play running back, and he's just an offensive weapon. Not saying that you need to take him just. Honestly curious.
No. It's a great question. No, and because when you, especially if you're reading this, what it says here, Shipley is a true chisel inside the tackles, using his instincts and agility. Meanwhile, he doubles as an elite receiving threat and quality blocker as well. That screams Mike McDaniel's offense.
Yeah,
that's like that, Shanahan.
Kind of like that Deebo Samuels before he went
that right there.
Receiver. Yeah,
that's correct. There is
a guy that the Dolphins drafted, wide receiver, that was kind of what you'd hoped Will Shipley would be as well, but he didn't pan out. I can't think of his name. You might not have drafted him. You might have traded for him. I can't think of his name. Did he go to Pitt or Navy, Army, something like that?
Oh, yes, yeah. No, it wasn't. I know who you're talking about. It wasn't Gaskin.
Is he still on the team?
No, he's not on the team. I know who you're talking about. He went to Navy, I believe. He was a Navy.
Like
Dude.
that guy was drafted
Smaller
to have,
back.
Yeah, to have this role. I think Will Shipley could fill that
Perry.
role.
Yes, Ralph got it. Raphael. Thank you, Ralph. Matt Perry, right? Matt
Yeah.
Perry or
I
Michael
believe
Perry?
so. Let me
Not
look
Matthew
at
Perry,
it.
Chandler, but
I think he was on the team last year.
I think Matt Perry. Okay, thank you. I think of Chandler Bing.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was pretty good with Devontae, but when you're talking about Will Shipley, it fits. I'm gonna roll with Devontae, but that Will Shipley pick makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by him even for the Cowboys. Like his ability, is just what can you do with him in a league of we want to do a lot with these players.
Minnesota tight end.
Brevin Spanford. Blake Corum is there.
Yeah.
That's a nice running back to have.
So
He has a lot
out
of
of Michigan,
carries
I was
there.
just gonna ask you guys about him. What your thoughts on him?
I think he's got a lot of carries, but in an offense that we don't need a lead back. We just need someone to 50-50 split or maybe 33 split. I don't know. I might, because he is a powerful back and he's got some speed to him.
So
Michael
here,
Pratt, though, I need to watch more film on him, but he's a smart guy, tall.
I've heard about him. I gotta look at him as well. I haven't
Cade
watched a lot.
Stover's still
so
there. There's some options here.
There is, and here's my thing. So Jonah Ellis is still on the board out of Utah. I haven't watched a lot of Tyrone Hopper, and I missed my guy at linebacker. He's gone. I'm just gonna have to do what I gotta do.
So if I read strengths of Cade Stover, solid, well-proportioned frame, explosive enough to get deep, agile, able to hurdle defenders, quick in stride and adjustments, strong hand strength, can pry passes away from defenders, reliable catcher, clutch in key situations, and physical after the trait. And then every weakness you're going to see is like his athleticism, lack speed to maintain space, no elite athletic trait, catch radius isn't the greatest, and his blocking skills are very underdeveloped, but you can see him developing them.
So I'm going to go to punter, but I'm not going punter here. But you got Torrey Taylor, Kai Kroger, Matt Highball, and Austin McEnora.
The kid from Iowa, my understanding, is really good. Boomstick.
So
Boomstick McGee.
I'm gonna go to linebacker here. Roll with the linebacker because we need it. But now I'm gonna go get the guy, and this is what's great. So Spanford, and then but Jared Riley is the guy that's been catching my eye.
I haven't watched him.
This 6'6", 250, 6'7", really. But what I've seen I like a lot, and he can block, he can catch, red zone threat. I'm gonna roll with him here. That's gonna be my pick here.
All right. Well, you've only got about 25 more picks.
I will now.
Make this and pick more.
Yeah, I do. I got it now.
Trying to give up all their picks.
So, let me see here.
Joe Milton.
I'm going Joe here. I'm just looking for someone. I'm going to go Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I think I do got to look more at Peyton Wilson. I did see him there. I haven't seen a lot of him, so that's why I didn't. But I got to take more. I'm not trading with the Jets.
If Tyke Smith is there, you have to take him at safety. He's like a man. Like he's going to be your guy that covers the tight end, and he's not there anymore.
He's not there anymore.
He was there last round.
Oh, sorry.
Luke McCaffrey. Ooh, you want your quarterback? Luke McCaffrey can be that.
Who?
McCaffrey's brother. He
Oh,
went
look at
running
that.
back, quarterback, wide receiver.
That's like that. You know what? That screams. I have not seen him. I'm just doing this for fun. That screams Shanahan, and that scream. You know who that? What's that? Taysom Hill is kind of reminds me of that.
He correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he started at Nebraska. He wanted to be a quarterback, then transferred out, and then eventually just became a wide receiver at Rice.
You know what? I'm going Luke McCaffrey. Because he could do it all. There you go. So
That's good. I like it.
Dude, if they came out of the draft with Fantanu, Sweat, Walker, Riley, I mean Milton, of course, but that would be a good way to go.
Not enough linemen for my blood.
Luke McCaffrey played at Nebraska, went to Nebraska as a quarterback, transferred out to be the Rice quarterback, and then eventually became a wide receiver for Rice. But he's played running back at Nebraska. Like he was the first game I watched him, I think it was his freshman year. He was a stud. I don't know what happened, but he was that entire offense.
Want to see Anthony? I'm trying to look it up, buddy. Your draft picks from earlier. I did say I was going to go back and look at it, so give me a moment.
All right, Bobby, I got to run. I got a kid issue. Need to get my daughter to.
Go ahead, brother.
All right, I appreciate you guys. It was fun tonight.
All right, man. See you next week.
Right.
I got you. Anthony's draft.
Thank you.
Second round, he's got Tyler Guyton. And then we got Toddler, Nubin, Jackson.
Oh, safety as Nubin. I think Tyler. Yeah.
Jackson Powers Johnson. In the third round, edge Cooper, and linebacker out of Texas A&M. So
there you go.
Are this 2 second-round picks with Tyler Guyton and Nubin, and then, or is this 3 second-round picks?
Yeah, because third-round edge. So first off, just doing on the picks alone, Tyler Guyton, obviously great pick. Tackle, Miami needs it. Nubin, safety. Depending on what happens with Elliott. Jackson Powers. If you got Guyton and Powers, and you got that safety, that's perfect. Linebacker at Texas A&M, Cooper. Gosh, I thought I had his name there. I know who you're talking about. I love it. I love it. It would be a good haul. I don't have the specific 3 second-round picks.
Powers Johnson and Tyler Guyton. I'm down.
Absolutely. But man. Anyway, guys, we're about an hour and a half in. Again, don't hesitate. Put your comments below, especially after the show as well. Follow us. Wingate, let them know where they could follow you and find you, and go from there.
At Josh Wingate 302, Twitter. Also, if you want to join the conversation, I have a Discord. So if you go to at Mugs and Balls, you can join the Discord. I'm going to try and get these guys in that Discord, and we can do a little video review. I like to stream tape, and then we just go in there and we just have a conversation. I did that previously with Bret. I would love to do it again this year. Maybe, I don't know, we plan a day and we tell everyone, and everyone joins, and we just have a conversation watching some tape.
That sounds awesome, man. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, we appreciate you all watching. Join us next week, Monday night, 8:00 Eastern, for another episode. We'll go down another position here. Linebackers. I believe linebackers would probably be the best way to go, since that was our tier 2 need. We'll definitely talk about tight end as well, but this for next week, our positional focus will be on linebackers. We'll touch. We got a lot of stuff going on. We'll talk about the latest rumors. We'll talk about some trade, all that, whatnot. So join us. Hit that like and subscribe button. Until then, we appreciate you. Have a good night.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.